Welcome back on the third video on climate change and our sustainable energy policy. Here, let's look firstly at how bad the situation we are. Hong Kong is hotter than global trend as shown in your left-hand side. A study from Hong Kong Observatory showed the orange line with global trend and the blue line shooting up is Hong Kong. The prediction is that we shall have at least 3-degree increase in this century, or even worse, 8 degrees at the end of this century, as shown in the figure on your right-hand side. Why Hong Kong is worse than world trend? How will Hong Kong be affected by climate change? What can we do to help? These are the questions we always need to ask ourselves. One of the impacts of higher temperature is sea level rises from half a meter to more than a meter by the end of this century. The impacts of 4 degrees of increase causing sea level rise with flooding in lowland, say alongside the Victoria Harbour. Of course, if this happens in Shanghai, would be more severe. In Hong Kong, marine scientists detected close to a degree increase in seawater, and ocean acidification is more serious in Hong Kong than other places. In Mersey Bay, pH already dropped from 8.2 to 7.9, perhaps also added more fresh water with more rains. Such changes in the ocean could reduce the amount of seaweed, for example, sargassum. Sea urchin, which feed on them, also declined. How about other marine organisms like the oyster in the deep bay? Of course, pollution and overfishing already are damaging the oceans around us. Climate change could make it unrecoverable, with the ecosystem changed forever. Here are some figures we should know. We are doing better now. Say 2013, we emitted 44.4 million tons of carbon. 2015, only 41.6 and 5.7 tons per capita. We have 7.3 TPC for 1994. And the carbon intensity, it was 43 grams in 1992 per Hong Kong dollar of GDP. Now 17 grams per GDP Hong Kong dollar. If we need to cut 50 to 60% of 2005 level of 26 grams of carbon intensity, we need to cut down 13 grams from 17 grams. If we look into the major source of our greenhouse gases, 66% are from our power stations, and around 20% from transportation over the last 30 years. We have already switching to use more gas, natural gas from mainland. We started to use nuclear power 30 years ago. Coal is still our main source of energy for power reduction. To meet our target of 50 to 60% reduction of carbon intensity in 2020, we have to reduce coal usage, use more clean fuels from renewable energies. To improve our efficiency as a city, we also need to improve our energy saving in buildings. With green building designs, better air conditioning performance, better appliances, building management, and longer lifespan of buildings. Greening the city as a whole, we also need green transportation by extending our MTR, do energy saving and promote energy efficient cars, improve pedestrians' walkways. We are also trying to turn waste to resources, use landfill gases, get energy from wastewater and organic waste, implement waste reduction, reuse, and recycling. We may need to use more gas and nuclear for power plants in 2020 to achieve the reduction of carbon intensity from 26 grams to 13 grams in 2020. In 2014, our carbon emission per person was 6.2 tons per year per person. We need to make it down to 4.5 tons in 2020 per person, 2030, further down to 3.3 per person per year. In 2030, carbon intensity should be reduced further down to 70%. Green buildings are badly needed, as our carbon footprint showed 70% from electricity, and among those, 90% are from buildings. New buildings will have gross floor area concessions. There are 6 aspects, from site materials, energy use, to water indoor quality and innovations for consideration of the concessions. These are the BEAM and BEAM Plus policy. Existing buildings may join the Green Building Council's BEAM Plus award mechanism to showcase. BEAM means Building Environmental Assessment Methods. To look deeper, the BEAM mechanisms include carbon audit and accounting by studying direct emission like combustion, if any, mobile combustion or gases emitted, or reduction by planting more trees. Also, indirect emission with electricity or town gas, or other indirect emission like business travel, paper purchase, waste, water consumption. For BEAM Plus, from master planning to new building and existing buildings, including post-construction operational and interior energy use, directly or indirectly, all under the Green Labeling Committee's monitoring to save energy. To sum up, in the 3 videos we have seen, carbon dioxide emission exceeds the normal range and continuously rising, coupled with global temperature rise, and the actual impacts are visible. This trend cannot be stopped, but must be stopped because the situation is getting worse. We are the cause of global warming due to the use of fossil fuels, and we have to act now to save our planet. Fossil fuels are not unlimited anyway. We need a valid energy policy for sustainable development with carbon tax, trading, nuclear energy, and renewable energy. To conclude, the way forward is the introduction to Hong Kong with renewable energy save 45% of the total energy consumptions, reduce energy use to show immediate effect, educate more people to use less, audit your carbon emission and set targets to reduce emission, introduce carbon tax and trading. Should we use more nuclear? That's a safety issue needs to be debated. Thank you for watching. And there are 7 questions here for the group or in-class discussion. I don't read them one by one. Bye-bye.